Hi everybody, I'm Samantha Ellinger with FedScoop TV. I'm at our Lowering the Annual Cost of Government with IT Summit, and I'm here with Nick Psaki, Principal Engineer for Federal at Pure Storage. Nick, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here today. Thanks, Sam.
So my first question for you, what advances in IT should agencies be looking to use that could boost efficiency and drive savings?
I think foundationally, if you take a look at information system architectures as a whole, transmission, switchgear's gotten very fast, servers have become very fast and capable, virtualization's allowed us to get the most out of that, and the broken leg of the three-legged IT stool is really storage. So flash storage systems enable a significant improvement in performance, a dramatic increase in efficiency, a dramatic reduction in power consumption. And in Pure Storage's case, it also fundamentally changes the sustainment model, or the cost of maintaining those systems over time, which in our case means it never goes up. So if an agency can enable a 10-fold increase in performance, a 90% reduction in power consumption, and it doesn't cost them any more to operate over time, and that technology is continually refreshed, that allows them to become significantly more efficient, not only in terms of their IT operations and their service delivery, but also in terms of budget efficiency.
Great. And let's talk a little bit about modernization. Why is modernization an absolute must for agencies?
Because legacy systems age over time, it becomes significantly more expensive to keep the same things doing that work, much like it becomes more expensive to own a car over time. It requires more maintenance, it requires more upkeep. So for the very same reasons, upgrading and modernizing your IT infrastructure enables your agency to take advantage of improvements in technology, improvements in performance that come with the improvements in technology. And of course, it costs a lot less to maintain newer systems over time. This enables a significant increase in, again, service delivery to our customers, our fellow citizens, as well as more efficient use of taxpayer dollars in maintaining that infrastructure.
Great. So is cloud still an emerging trend in the federal space when we're talking about, kind of what are the trends for the future of IT? Is cloud still considered an emerging trend, or is that becoming basically a norm?
I think it's the elephant in the room. In a lot of ways, everybody understands that the utility computing and consumption model offers some significant benefits. And everybody acknowledges that that is definitely a direction that makes sense for government to go, but I think that a lot of questions still remain, and this is the emerging part of the conversation, of how to do it. So we're getting a better understanding of how to consume it financially, but figuring out which functions and which applications and which services we want to migrate to public utility or public computing infrastructure, cloud services, is still very much an ongoing discussion in government. I think a lot of agencies are doing a very good job in making their initial steps into the cloud, but there's also understanding that the cloud doesn't solve all problems and isn't necessarily the right application for everything. So it's now also striking the balance of what part of my architecture do I need to keep, what part of it can I rent out, and how do I integrate those two in order to take the best advantage of both of the salient features of each one of those types of services. And that's still a very big and pressing question in government. I think that we've done a good job of starting to understand who can provide the capabilities we're looking for, and now it's becoming much more a question of how are we going to take advantage of that, and then how are we going to pay for it, because this is still kind of a new area for government to explore. It's a much easier translation for commercial companies to do because they get to basically spend their own money at their discretion. There are far fewer security compliance regulations that commercial companies may have to adhere to. They have their internal IT security policies, but those are set by the company. Government IT security policies, as an example, are set by the government. So compliance with those is very massive, and it's very important, and it's mandated by statute and regulation. So those are, it's a whole array of questions and challenges that go to the government CIO or the agency directors and the technical personnel on how to best make this fit, and how do we leverage cloud computing capabilities in our organizations in a way that allows us to achieve our agency and organization's missions as well as complying with the law and, of course, funding it.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about, one of the issues that often comes with hand in hand with cloud, cybersecurity. So with all the issues surrounding cybersecurity, how can agencies really focus on securing systems within a constrained budget environment? From your perspective, how can industry help with that?
I think it is very, very important when articulating what your architecture, your infrastructure are going to be, to actually have security as the first concern. So security first, last, and always, as we used to say in the military. Starting from that perspective, if you define what your security framework and boundaries look like, it becomes simpler to start addressing what components you need to insert into that architecture in order to provide a secure computing environment. The other thing that I think agencies can do that provide them with a huge amount of leverage and efficiency is to procure capabilities and procure systems that have the security necessary built in. So the Department of Commerce and the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the National Security Agency have all defined what the security frameworks and requirements are for government systems. So that's a benefit. We know what right looks like. Now, buying systems from industry that already contain those requirements, such as NIAP and Common Criteria Certification, FIPS 140-2, these should be built into the components that we're purchasing, both in the software and the hardware. And the last thing, what can industry do to help? We need to be, and I'm very proud to say that my company does, we need to be engineering systems that have these security requirements and security features built into them so that they're not bolt-on, which adds additional cost and overhead and complexity, and by the way, introduces significant security vulnerabilities. The more security components you have that are outside the infrastructure and not inherent to it, the more opportunities there are for it to be infiltrated and otherwise found vulnerable. So build with security first, buy systems that have security features that you need built in, and make sure that your industry partners are providing the type of security that you need against established standards and policy.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about emerging tech. So what other emerging technologies can really help agencies be more effective while also trimming their spending?
It's a very good question. I think that in the last 6 years, we've seen a significant transformation in storage in terms of migrating from spinning disk to flash media. And I have to say that storage is one of the hugest consumers of budget cost, as well as real estate, as well as power. So fundamentally changing how storage works, migrating from spinning disks, which are really inherently inefficient at scale, to a medium that is significantly more power efficient and provides significantly higher performance, lets us get more efficient, lets us get more bang for the buck. And I think that we're seeing memory start to take the place of spinning disk in information technology stacks because it gives us a huge amount of benefit without costing us any additional money. And if you take a look at the rate of adoption of flash drives in particular versus spinning disks, the consumption of flash drives is going up across the entire industry, whereas the consumption of spinning disks is declining. So we're very much watching the same kind of technology transformation in IT that happened in consumer electronics. 6 or 7 years ago, it became very, very difficult to buy televisions that had cathode ray tubes in them. And really, without anybody almost even noticing, the whole world became flat panel displays. Well, this transformation is very much like that. We're still storing data, our applications are still running. The way users see them really hasn't changed, but what's driving them, what's powering them, is fundamentally transforming and enabling a significant increase in performance and capacity and capability and agility in service delivery and agility in architecture design. It becomes easier to design or adapt a system that is flexible and highly performant and efficient. You spend a lot less time figuring out how to put the plumbing in your house and much more time figuring out how you're going to arrange the furniture in your house, which is preferable because we don't sit on our plumbing, we sit on our couches.
I like that analogy. All right, well, I think that's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us today. If you're looking for more videos, you can check out our YouTube channel, or if you're looking for more information, check out fedscoop.com. I'm Samantha Ellinger with FedScoop TV. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.